Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time you're watching this, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on a playback. I'm here, always happy to do another one of these catch up with Mayo when you get a chance to hang out and we talk. And if you want to ask anything, you want to make comments, you want to talk about the channel, anything you want to talk about within reason, and my discretion, of course. So, we're here again. I'm here again. And I'm starting out the morning here with a nice hot cup of tea with honey and a little half and half in it. Let's go. How sweet it is. All right. And I see we have some people watching and also people in the gallery. So we'll start with saying hello to James. Hey, James and Brad. Cheers. And Dino, what's going on? And Robbie, hello. Recovering from a hangover, are you? Yeah, I don't drink anything stronger than tea and water these days. But hello, Elvin. Let's see the scroll of the new Mayo movie channel. Well, I did prepare the scroll. I did change the name again. I don't even know if it's going to stay this way, but that's part of my reputation for my movie channel. The thing is that my movie channel, it's not just movies anymore. It's also comic books, nostalgia. I started thinking of my movie channel as a movie and nostalgia channel combined. Therefore, I changed the name, at least for now, to Mayo's Cinestalgia. It is not just cinema. It is not just nostalgia. It's a combo. Cinestalgia. And right for now, I have Mayo's Cinestalgia just to keep the Mayo moniker going because of the mean Mr. Mayo connection. There could be some variation of that, Mr. Cinestalgia. I don't know, but I like the Mayos in there for now. And there you go. Let me know what you think. All right. Hope you'll consider maybe subscribing there. It's not just movies, not just television, not just comic books, but any kind of nostalgia. Well, actually, Elvin, every time I get over there and make a name, I first look to see if anybody has it. Well, you think a lot of times you think you've got an original idea, then you find out other people were using it. A few people were using Cinestalgia already, but they don't have Mayo's Cinestalgia. That's the difference. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. Let's see. Hello, Mike. What's going on? Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's a good bet. A week is a good bet. Well, don't remember the last one that I had, Mr. Cinemayo. That went for a long time, months. So you never know. But yeah, if I think of names that I really like, there you go. So anyway, let me take that banner down for now. Have I ever heard of a female singer named Marilyn Martin? No, I've heard of Mary Martin. Will there be another chat with Danny in the future? I'm sure there will be. Right now, again, I've made the decision again for the time being, and this has happened too, taking a break from what I call the free-for-all, anything goes, let's just all hang out and have a blast kind of live stream. I'm not interested in doing those right now. But, next week I may wake up and say, hey, I want to do one of those. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, right now I'm just going to do my own thing here. And occasionally I may have somebody up with me, but it'll be more, a dedicated thing like Beatles related or movie related or something more serious. Hello, Eric. Mayo's Synestalgia. It might take a while to get used to that. It's not a bad name, and I get the tie-in with nostalgia. Yeah. Okay, Marilyn Martin is the one that sang with Phil Collins in the movie White Nights, and the song they were singing was Separate Lives. Okay, because I did not know that. Exactly. That's all you can do, James. That's all we can do is take it day by day, not just with my movie channel name, but with everything. Everything. Day by day. One day at a time is definitely true in so many ways. It's very appropriate. I'll be the first one to mention this, I guess. Today is Groundhog Day. Hey, February 2nd, Groundhog Day. And I really hope, even though I think it's all a lot of nonsense with the groundhog seeing his shadow and all that, I really hope for the fun of it. They say that we're going to get early spring or whatever you call it. None of this, several more weeks of winter or whatever crap that's all about. And also, I'll be the first one to mention tonight is the Grammys. And the Beatles are up for 2 Grammys. And do I think they'll win? I don't want to commit because I don't want to be wrong. But I mean, I get a feeling they may win Song of the Year this time, only because it's like they kept losing that throughout their careers. They kept getting nominated, then they'd lose, And I just think that maybe it's time. Maybe they figure like a swan song, or they figure, lifetime achievement kind of nod. When they do that, like there's sometimes an old actor who never got an award, so they give him the Oscar. That kind of thing. I mean, I'm talking about for Song of the Year. Did Michelle win Song of the Year by the Beatles? I don't know. I'm all mixed up. And again, am I sure of this? I mean, do I really feel in my heart that they're going to win? Do I really feel it? Not sort of, but not really. It could go either way, obviously. But I don't know why. Something tells me that maybe they'll get something. I don't know why. Good morning, Gregory. Will you bring your video camera to the upcoming fest? I love your remote videos. Yeah, I do plan on bringing my usual phone, my Samsung phone and camera with me. And if everything goes well, and God willing, we could all make it to the fest. The fix is already in. The Beatles will win. You're talking about a sympathy, Grammy. Well, the word sympathy never applies to the Beatles. Obviously, the Beatles are the greatest thing ever. They don't need sympathy, but I mean, respect. Respect. Late day respect. I think more than sympathy. I mean, they give some of the Oscar winners, people like I'm named, like the old people that never had an Oscar. They look like they may die soon. They give them a sympathy. This is really good. Finally found the right mixture for my tea. Half and half and honey. That's the 3 H's. Half honey. So anyway, the Let It Be album got soundtrack album of the year. Yeah, it did. And I think Sgt. Pepper, Lonely Hearts Club Band got album of the year. And I should really mention, by the way, I think the Grammys are a lot of nonsense. The Grammys is a good joke. It's always been a joke. Beatles should have won a lot more awards, and I think the Rolling Stones for a long time did not get an award, or if they ever had got a Grammy, it's just ridiculous. So I take it with a grain of salt, or should I say a tablespoon of salt, or a ladle of salt. Okay, I see Paul came out against AI. Yeah, he did. In an interview, he was talking about that. And I agree with him for the most part. But, the thing I feel bad about, for Paul's sake, is that Paul is getting, well, he is old. He's not getting old. He's old. And he's concerned, and he's been concerned for many decades now about what is going to happen when he dies, like his legacy. He used to worry that in the future, you'll have computers, which we did already, I guess, where it'll say like "Hey Jude," written by, it'll say John Lennon and Paul McCartney, but it'll just say John Lennon, and Paul McCartney would be cut off, the monitor. If Paul's name didn't come first, he wouldn't see it. So Paul does get concerned about things like that. And I understand that he's concerned. He said in an interview I heard, he said, they've got me singing God Only Knows by the Beach Boys, and I've never sang God Only Knows. These days they can take your voice and they can put it in and make it sound like he's singing anything. And, unfortunately, when Paul is no longer here, there are going to be a lot of things that he might not be too happy about had he been alive and got to witness it, So, yeah, I can understand him. And, of course, the other thing is artists not getting paid, not getting the money for some of these things. I understand that part, too, on his perspective, So anyway, let's see. I agree. I think Ringo should get a Grammy for his wonderful, marvelous, stupendous album, Look Up. I always thought the American Music Awards was better. How many times have you seen Paul McCartney in concert? I think it's 11 times plus one sound check at this time, if my counting is right. What band reunion would you like to see this year and why? The Runaways. How's that? Usually I can't come up with an answer. Joan Jett with the Runaways. It's long overdue. Sandy West, the drummer, is dead, unfortunately. She died 20 years ago or so. She was a good drummer. But, to see Lita Ford and Joan Jett and Sherry Curry, just those three anyway. Whoever else is the bass player is fine with me. I don't care. And why would I like to see them? You ask why? Because I'm a Joan Jett fan, and I'd like to see that. And a Runaways fan. I saw a YouTuber say an AI company offered to pay him for his YouTube content, and he turned it down. Good for him. So would I. Okay. Hello, Russ. Morning. Good morning. Whenever I listen to music on YouTube, I go to the musician's channel to listen to it from there so that any monetization goes to the musician. Oh, that's an interesting name. Phil. Interesting name. Okay. I refuse to listen to AI creations. One singer singing a song they never recorded. I generally am against the idea too, and therefore I avoid it. I avoid it mostly as a protest on principle. But I got to admit, sometimes I'm curious. Sometimes my curiosity is there, Good morning, Josh. Joan played with the remaining members of Nirvana at the Fire Aid concert the other night. That's nice. I hope she was good still. I mean, she's in her 60s now. I mean, late 60s, Let's see. Supposedly in England, you're automatically opted in for your content. I'm enjoying your vast catalog of past videos on your channel, and I recommend that everyone take deep dive into your past videos. Thank you, Brad. I'm glad you said that. One of the things I like about, YouTube channels is being able to watch all the old stuff if you want. You know, people just watch the newest stuff and they don't really go and binge or deep dive back to old stuff. And I really appreciate that you're doing that. I do that with channels that I like. I go back to old videos. And another thing, I encourage people all the time to, when you see all the features that are available on a channel, like my channel, please hit the playlists. Because if you look at the playlists, you can find a topic that you like, whether it's Beatle finds, things I got, new things to show, the Beatles, whether it's hanging out with my friends like Anthony, whether you like the record store videos and you want to see hanging out in the record store reality nonsense that goes on. If you like the rant videos where I pop a cork over something that annoys me, you get to watch the rant videos. So I appreciate that when people do that. Cheese Joan Jett, of course she was good. The Dress to Kill moment is a classic, and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank there. In England, you have to sign papers saying you don't want your content stolen. I did the same. I agree. Yeah, Eric does that a lot, and I always appreciate that about Eric. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, he watches the old videos. Thanks. Because it's not just the new stuff. You know, there's old stuff there that are pretty good. Yeah, Joan Jett was in a movie with Michael J. Fox, Light of Day. I happen to have the Blu-ray of that. It's awesome. Well, I have an unofficial copy of it because it's not really available, I don't think. At least not in the United States, anyway. But I'll tell you, I've always thought it was a weak movie. I saw it when it premiered, the day it premiered, and I was so disappointed. I thought Joan Jett was interesting to watch in it. But I think it's a real downer of a movie, you know. Oh, there it is, Rocco. There it is. There it is. Hogshead Day. Oh, I see. Oh, I see what you say. Yeah, there was a video I did. Do I have that on the rant videos? Right. That's a good video if you could find it. There's a movie called Dress to Kill from 1980 with Angie Dickinson and Michael Caine. And I bought the soundtrack album and I got it through the mail, all damaged, all screwed up. Yeah, that's really interesting. You should see that video. But the thing is, I had a mint record. No, I said it backwards. I'm sorry. I had a mint cover already. I really ordered that just for the record. I had a mint cover with a shitty record already. So when I ordered it, the cover came all damaged, but it didn't matter because I already had an immaculate cover. But the record was pristine. It stayed pristine in the mail. So I was able to make the switch. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Click the like button on old and new videos. Thank you. That helps. Every little bit helps, folks. Let me tell you. The groundhog saw his shadow. He said 6 more weeks of stupid winter. Stupid doesn't even begin to describe winter. You know? Oh, I hope not. We're now in the worst month of the year, February. The coldest month, winter, garbage. Hate it. Do you recommend any good Runaway compilation CD discs? So there were a lot of them, actually. I think, well, a few of them. One of them is simply called Best of the Runaways, you know, and that's a good one. I have other ones, I think, but I don't remember. They're foreign discs. Out of curiosity, is Dress to Kill one of the things you'd purge these days or not? Absolutely not. I'm pretty much keeping my soundtrack albums, and I love the soundtrack. Very good soundtrack, Dress to Kill. So there's no way I'm going to part with that one. Hope all is well with the Talk More Talk, folks. That's how I found you and Tom, through Ken Michaels. Well, Talk More Talk. It's now we're able to officially say. We were taking a break for, it's been since December, and we're ready to come back this month. I don't know the exact day yet, but we are coming back soon. So if you're looking for Talk More Talk, this month it'll be back. Don't know the exact date yet, but I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later because, we need a show. Tom Petty originally wanted to name his group the Blackhearts, but Joan beat him to it. Well, really? I didn't know that. What's my favorite horror movie box set? Probably dealing with the old Universal monsters, the classic 30s and 40s films. I've been watching your channel pretty religiously for the last 10 years, but there's some more that I hadn't seen. Hey, there's a lot of stuff back there. Look at the old videos. Hit the playlists. Playlist feature. Please. Thank you. Let's drink to that. Oh, sorry, I'm making noises here, but I don't want to choke on this stuff. Got to swallow it down. All right. Are you watching the Grammys tonight? Well, I'm interested to see how the Beatles do, but I figured I probably am not going to watch it. I'll probably put it this way. I'll probably go back and forth. I'll channel surf and go back and forth here and there. But it would be nice. It would be very, very, very nice if the Beatles, Ringo and Paul were together there, but I don't think they're performing. Good morning, Scott. Very good. I'm glad. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. February was never my favorite month. Dad died at the start of February. Sorry about that, Eric. Yesterday was an okay of remembrance. My condolences. Just think of all the Beatle news Ken Michaels will have. Yes, just think about that. Talk More Talk is how I found Mr. Mayo as well. Really? I didn't even know that. It's nice to know that somehow these shows that we all do, they kind of interconnect, and you can find other people, learn about other people. Yorkie girl, hello, good morning to you. And this stuff is so good. What are your top 5 favorite comedy movies from the 30s? Well, the first one is called Sons of the Desert, which is a Laurel and Hardy classic. I also they're all Laurel and Hardys, I think. I love Way Out West by Laurel and Hardy, and I love Blockheads. 3 Laurel and Hardys. Now, as far as I also like, there's what's the City Lights by Charlie Chaplin. City Lights. I'm trying to think of like a comedy by somebody else. Duck Soup, Marx Brothers. At a big store yesterday, I saw a DVD box set of Universal horror movies. It was multiple sets. Right, exactly. I'm a little lost with that. I met Lita Ford myself. Almost done reading McCartney Legacy 2. Any record store videos coming up? Well, I was at the record store yesterday and I got some footage. It's getting very hard to find footage. To make, because, well, Bazooka Joe, who I understand is doing well, the owner, still isn't really in the store. He's still, he doesn't come in the store. Let's put it that way. Early in the morning, he comes in. And before I get there. Don, right, everybody's favorite Don, little Don, is in the hospital. Now, he's really undergoing like tests and some procedures here. Don is still a trooper. I mean, I'm sure he'll be all right after that. But I have some old footage. I have old footage of Don that I can use. But it's just that there's not as much stuff going on anymore as there was. But I have enough stuff that maybe I can concoct another video. You know, you got to kind of get enough footage over a period of weeks. What I meant to say is I met Lita Ford back in 1988 when she put out her 1988 album. I saw her in my hometown. Very good. Yeah, I met her a lot later than that, in the 2000s. The ending of City Lights always brings a tear to my eye. It's been a long time since I saw it. I remember it's still a silent film, even though by then they were doing talkies for a couple of years. But it was good. Yeah, W.C. Fields. Yeah, yep. I love when you do the crossover videos with other Beatles-related podcasters. Yeah, I got to do more of that. And it's always good. I don't know if you checked it out, Brad, but make sure, if you hit the playlists, make sure you look for Fab Gab, because Fab Gab has a lot of videos with other related podcasters. I also invited a podcaster up today, only if he's able to make it. So he might not be able to make it, but I sent the link anyway. Okay. Hello, Kenny. What's going on? Good morning to you. I just saw old footage of Elton John buying vinyl at Tower Records. Yeah, I know the footage you mean. That's very interesting. He's a big collector. He would go to the store at 7 a.m. a few hours before they opened. Toronto had a 4-story Tower Records. Okay. One of your dedicated viewers and a regular follower of your YouTube channel. I truly admire your videos and find them incredibly engaging and valuable. Well, thank you. That's nice to know. As I've said many times, you know, it's good to get feedback like this, just simply because you know that what you're doing, people are watching. They're watching and they appreciate it. And that's always good to know, you know, because as I've said many times, and it's obvious, you don't need me to say this, but what's the point of doing a channel and making videos if nobody cares or watches, you know? So thanks. Love the footage of Neil Young finding a bootleg of his and taking it for free too. Yeah, that's a good one. And I just always notice when I watch that clip, I think Magical Mystery Tour the album is in the background. Well, I Am the Walrus. You hear that stuff. What is that video? The early 70s, like 1970 or something, something like that. Okay. I'm supposed to get together this week now with Mikey Arugula. So there should be another Mikey Arugula collector's video for those of you who like those. Magical Mystery Tour in the Neil Young video playing slower than it should for some reason. Remember Borders Bookstore? Yes. They had tons of books, DVDs, music, and other things. It used to be a 3-story Borders in Chicago, but they went out of business a decade ago. Yeah, that sucks. Are you going to start collecting toys from your childhood now? Well, not saying. I don't know about toys. If I happen to see something, well, I'm always interested in the Planet of the Apes collectibles. I mean, I got some up there. A lunchbox, a model here, a mask. It's a bank, you know. But I'm interested in the comic books, that's for sure. Favorite Elton John album. When it comes to Elton John, I like the compilation albums. Well, of course, there's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. That's got a lot of great songs on it. Try to remember as a whole. I think because I usually, if I play Elton, I usually play greatest hits 1, 2, and 3. There's 3 great collections. Modern Times, 1936. Yep. My Favorite Elton John, Tumbleweed Connection, and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I especially like the Mikey Arugula videos. I like when you ask questions or make comments from behind the camera. Well, he asks me to be in the videos more. He wants me to be in the videos more. And I always say, well, this is your thing. This is your thing. You know, that's what I say. You might hear my voice now and then. But we'll see what the future holds. I think there's at least one of them where I'm in it more prominently, at least at the beginning. I think there's at least one. So thank you for that. Oh, when you were saying about collecting toys from when you were a kid, I mean, like I just happened to see these, so I bought them. I mean, they were like 7-Eleven cups back from the 1970s, you know, and there's a Jaws 2 one, and I got some other ones. I mean, I grew up in the 70s, and I saw these, and I thought, oh, these are nice. So I went ahead. Still, The Great Dictator. Yeah, The Great Dictator. I've never seen The Great Dictator. That's his only sound film, Charlie Chaplin, isn't it? Tiny Sanford, who was in a lot of Laurel and Hardy movies, appeared with Chaplin in The Circus and Modern Times. By the way, did you know, Eric, that I got, if you watched my movie discussion on my movie channel, I got the Laurel and Hardy, the two Silence, year 1 and year 2. And I also got the Blu-ray of the sound ones. They did a great job on there. I have some knickknack collectibles as well. That's quite a collection you have. Oh yeah, not as much as other people, believe me, but I do okay. Let's see. I have a few of those Slurpee cups from 7-Eleven. The Great Dictator is a great film, but I think it's too long. No, he made other sound films. Oh, I didn't know that. All right. Not comedy, but do you like The Old Dark House from 32? Admittedly, it's probably the oldest film I've seen in full and thought it was quite good. Yes, I do. I like The Old Dark House very much. The thing about it is, I think it's a movie that takes some getting used to. I had to see it 2 or 3 times before I really appreciated it. And when I first saw it, they didn't have a good print, really. The print was not that good. But now it's been restored from the original elements, and it's beautiful. The new, whatever the Blu-ray is of it. My father met W.C. Fields in the late 30s. At least that's what my mother told me anyway. As a kid, my dad met Stan Laurel at this school. He talked to a class about his life. Very nice. That would be cool. Like to admit, that would be so great to meet them, Laurel and Hardy. Do you ever swap out things in your collection or display, or keep everything the same? It's rare that I do that, but it happens occasionally. It's a shame there's not a good video of the Lennon appearance at the Elton John Madison Square Garden concert. There is a tiny bit of footage, but I think it's home movie footage. Why isn't May Pang ever a guest at the fest? I don't know what's up with that. I don't know. I saw most of Bela Lugosi Dracula, but not the full thing for some reason. It was the version that added background music. Yeah, I can't take that. I don't like the background music, but I got to tell you, even though I love those old classic horror movies, even I get a little bored by Dracula. I mean, the original Dracula is tough going for I guess people that don't watch black and white movies that often. But you have to get into that. You have to kind of like let the slow hypnotic trance work for you because it's a Dracula movie. I mean, even the original book Bram Stoker wrote, Dracula, even that's a slow book, you know. kind of dull at times. But Bela Lugosi's so fun to watch when he's on screen that it makes it good. And I don't like the music score personally. I like it without it. Glad you have the Laurel and Hardy Blu-rays. The definitive restorations present the films in better shape than ever. One Good Turn always looked rough, but on that set, very clear and sharp. I agree. I mean, I don't want to criticize it because it's such a great job they did on these sets. But I was watching, I think it was Helpmates, which is one of a good one. Helpmates, when Stan has to help Ollie clean the house because his wife's coming home, and he's a messy party. He had a party, and it's almost too clean. It's almost too like washed out or something. Too bright. Something about it. Okay, some of the things that Chaplin did. Okay, yeah. Oh, those are all the talkies, you mean? Content great, but not reaching even 30% of its full potential. I've helped YouTubers double, even triple their views. I can do the same for you. Thank you. I appreciate that, but I'm okay. I'm good. There's a Beatle poster in Rocky's apartment in the first Rocky. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen Rocky, but yes, just a bit of footage of John singing with Elton. I like how that was a result of a bet Elton had with John about how his latest album, Walls and Bridges, would be a hit. John thinking it won't be. Yeah. I love how people say John Lennon was such an egotist. Oh, he had such a big ego. John had no ego. He had a low self-esteem. Didn't think he was a great musician. Well, always put himself down. The songs always say, like Help says, I feel so insecure. I'm a loser. He says, I'm a loser. All this kind of stuff. And he didn't believe that he could get a number one, with whatever gets you through the night. He didn't believe it. He took the bet and said, yeah, right, whatever. So this business about, I'm so egotistical. He doesn't have a lot of confidence in himself, John. He didn't have a lot of confidence in himself. In some ways, maybe, but. Stan Laurel was still writing scripts after Oliver passed away. I like the scene of Dracula and Van Helsing out staring at each other until Van Helsing pulls out the crucifix, you mean? Oh, the mirror, too. There's a mirror, too. There's a mirror scene and a crucifix scene. That is a freaking great moment. There's two great Van Helsing confrontations in there. One of them is the mirror box scene when Van Helsing surprises Dracula by opening a little box that has a mirror in it, and Dracula smashes it because he doesn't have a reflection. And the other one is a confrontation with a crucifix. Those are really good. Van Helsing and Dracula got good scenes in the 1931 classic. Gotta say that. Let's see. Do you think they should have kept editing the Capitol albums past Revolver, like putting Sleep Dick on Sgt. Pepper or the White Album, other than Magical Mystery Tour, maybe a single white album? I'm not a fan of a single white album. I think that's a stupid. I'm not saying you. In general, I think that's a stupid thing when people say they want it. And that includes George Martin and some other people. Paul never made a better comment in his life. It's great. It's sold. It's the Bloody Beatles White Album. Shut up. That is the greatest freaking thing. And Paul said, and I agree with him, part of what's interesting is that it's got so many different little things on it. It's all the other Beatle albums, they're already like concise and they're perfect and they're good single albums and this and that. But the White Album is unique in that it's a double album. There's also so much versatility on there and so many different styles and sounds. It's so cool. Well, maybe you didn't notice it. Maybe it's just me. Not everybody sees things the same way. I thought Helpmates was almost a little too, I don't know, something about it was a little too cleaned up. I don't know. The Spanish version of Dracula is the better film, but I wish it starred Bela Lugosi. I don't agree. I know everybody says that the Spanish Dracula is better. Like you said, though, the biggest problem with it is that Carlos Valerius is unintentionally hilarious. The Dracula is a goofball in the Spanish version. That ruins it. But I also don't think anybody else is as good. I don't think Van Helsing or Renfield are as good. The thing about the Spanish version of Dracula 31 is that a lot of the photography is better. It's more interesting photography. I'll go with that. You know, the cinematography is better, but the actors. What you really want is you want Bela Lugosi and the cast of the American Dracula on the sets with the filming of the Spanish Dracula style. I think. Let's see. Yeah, the Beatles poster, Season of Laverne and Shirley. Yeah, they kissed them as they walked out the door. That's at the intro credits. Yeah. Yep. Jack Tripper has a poster. John Ritter was a Beatles fan. Yeah, the bet was Elton John said, if whatever gets you through the night becomes number one, you got to sing it on stage with me. And Lennon didn't believe it would be number one, so he agreed. And then when it did become number one, he had to follow through with his promise. I tried watching Quincy, and I do not like it. I watched a lot of episodes of Quincy, actually. I love The Odd Couple, but, you know, every time I watch Quincy, it looks like Oscar Madison, Jack Klugman, in a surgical smock. I mean, I just can't buy it. I don't buy that he's really a medical guy. I just don't buy it. He seems like Oscar Madison. That's how it strikes me. Yeah, I saw that episode. Mitch Weissman as Paul appeared on Joni Loves Chachi. Yeah, I remember that. You know, Mitch Weissman, people who don't know, was the original cast member of the Broadway hit Beatlemania. Or the off-Broadway, Broadway or off-Broadway. You know, the show Beatlemania, he played Paul. And I met Mitch Weissman. I ran into him. That's a story that is unbelievable. But I didn't get an autograph or anything. Let's leave it at that. I saw him in the city. And nobody believes it, but it's true. Let's just put it this way. In 1995, believe it or not, I went with a couple of people I knew to Paul McCartney's hotel. Paul was there. He came out of a limo. He went into the hotel. He did not want to sign autographs. He just, that was it. So I went home. I had to go and catch the railroad. So I turned the corner. I went down, and believe it or not, there was Mitch Weissman. He had a woman with him. I don't know if it's wife, girlfriend, I don't know. And they were looking in a shop window, and they were like, pointing at things. And I said, I can't believe this. And I told him the story, how I just, tried to get Paul's autograph just around the corner. You never know what's going on in the city. What do they say? There's all kinds of stories in this. Why I didn't get an autograph, I don't know. I should have. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I had the McCartney 2 album with me, and I had the Ram album, and I was going to, hopefully Paul was going to sign it, but he wouldn't sign. So that was that. And to make it an interesting story all these years later, and that would be what, 30 years? That's 30 years ago. This summer will be 30 years. I should have had Mitch Weissman sign McCartney 2 or something. I mean, what was I thinking? Yeah, John Ritter was a big Beatles collector. Imagine the questions he asked Ringo. Yeah, he worked with Ringo on the 1978 TV show called, I think it was just called Ringo. He was one of the cast members on the Ringo TV show. What's your favorite Al Pacino movie and why? It's funny. I was thinking about that. These days, I think my favorite Al Pacino movie could be Carlito's Way. I think. But were you asking me why? I like the movie. It's interesting. Sean Penn is great in it. Sean Penn, plays a great part. I like Scarface. It's one of my favorite Pacino movies. I like Scent of a Woman. Notice I'm not saying Godfather or Godfather 2. I'm not saying Serpico. You notice I'm saying these other movies. I don't know why. And I also, what's the other one? Insomnia. I like Insomnia. It may have been Jack Klugman's lack of confidence that caused him to sometimes act overly aggressive, not because of ego. Oh, John, I thought you meant Jack Klugman. Help me, Lord. Talking about John Lennon. I read it wrong. Take it back. Take two. John Lennon's lack of confidence. Yeah, definitely. The White Album is their best album, and it's a double album. There you go. I heard an interview where Paul said, "Come Together, Something in the Way, and Because" were his favorites off Abbey Road. Well, that's interesting. That's nice of him. I bought the White Album on cassette when it came out. I took it back because it didn't have Hey Jude and Revolution on it. Seriously? That's wild. That is a wild story. Imagine doing that. I can't even get my head around that one. Let's see. I think Not Guilty should have been on the White Album. Well, I like Not Guilty, but it really wasn't really completed. It didn't sound finished. They could have got a nice version of it. Did the Volkswagen Beetle ever promote the Beatles? I don't know. Anybody know? Yes, I saw the 1979 version of Dracula. So. There's good and bad about it, in my opinion. Check out my movie channel. I did a review of it, and I watched it fairly recently, in the last year or two. Yeah, I also like the version of Not Guilty that George did finally on his self-titled George Harrison album in '79. It's a slow version. It's not, it's very slow and mellow. It's not the rockin' version. I like them both. I like the harder rock version. I like the soft one. So I like them both. I agree. I think the 1979 George Harrison album is one of his best albums. Quincy was Oscar Madison with a wig. Well, I got news for you. Oscar Madison had a wig. When they made The Odd Couple, Jack Klugman was bald then. He was bald. He wore a wig all through The Odd Couple, toupee all through The Odd Couple. Thank you very much, Rocco. That's nice of you to just say that out of nowhere. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, are you the person who ran into Kid O'Toole once in a store and said you watch my channel too, or something like that? I think it was you, but I'm not sure. The Winter Garden Theater. Yes. I saw Beatlemania at the Winter Garden Theater in 1978, and when I went, I didn't see the main band. I didn't see the one with Mitch Weiss, but I saw the stand-in band or the replacement band or whatever you want to call it, but it still was fun. There was an interesting British Sherlock Holmes TV series in the 50s starring Ronald Howard, Leslie Howard's son. Different take on Holmes because it's done with a bit of dry humor. Okay, never saw that. It went from the Winter Garden Theater, Beatlemania did, to the Luntfontein Theater. I saw Joan Jett in 1989. I don't know how many shows I saw of hers. Maybe she played 5 nights at the Luntfontein Theater on Broadway. Isn't that amazing? And it was great. It was one of the best shows I've ever seen of hers. She was promoting her album called Up Your Alley, which had I Hate Myself for Loving You on it, and Little Liar, the two popular songs from that album. I saw Joan Jett a lot in the 80s. Great times to see her. I went to at least 2 shows of hers. I might have gone to 3. I don't know. Yeah, I like Coming Up. I do. I like that. If I'd get my Band on the Run signed by Joe Mayo if I could. All right, bring it to the convention. Bring it to the fest for Beatles fans. Um, yeah, I agree with this. Robin Williams was good in Insomnia. That's probably one of my favorite, if not the favorite, Robin Williams performance. I always say this. I never enjoyed Robin Williams as a stand-up comic or as a comedian at all. I didn't think he was annoying to me more than funny. However, when I saw The World According to Garp in 1982, I realized this guy is a decent actor, I thought. And I definitely like him in movies like Insomnia, where he plays bad guy in Insomnia. Oh, Oscar. White Album, double the records, double the fun. Yeah, and like I said, with the White Album, so you have one double album. What's so bad about that? You have the rest are all single albums. I liked Insomnia. It was very well done. It maintains a mood and tension throughout. Yeah. Well, it was a remake of a foreign film. I can't remember. It had Stellan Skarsgård in it. Well, too bad that Tom Hunyadi's not here. Stellan Skarsgård, and I think Tom likes the foreign one better. I saw that too, because actually the Al Pacino one with Robin Williams is it's a redo. But I like them both, but I think I prefer the American one. 1979 could have produced Disco Dracula. Yeah, I often call the Frank Langella Dracula from 79 Disco Dracula. Okay, they're like Laurel and Hardy in Sherlock Holmes TV show. There you go. I never saw Moscow. I think I might have went to the movies to see Moscow and Moscow on the Hudson, but it wasn't my kind of movie. I mean, I didn't like it. Beatlemania had many bands. I was going to be a John or George, a more John in appearance, and then it got canceled. That's interesting. Too bad it didn't work out. My favorite record store in New York. Well, I haven't been there. I haven't been shopping for records in New York since I started this channel. I mean, that's how long it's been. I don't think I've been. A song called Revolver Records. I think it's still there. Revolver Records. Used to be a store. It's only rock and roll, but Revolver's the best. But that's where I got a lot of my unusual albums, unofficial albums, bootlegs, all those things, and I still have them. Hello, Penny Lane. Penny Lane says, I didn't know Jack Lemon wore a toupee during The Odd Couple. Yep, he wore it throughout. He was bald from quite some time. And one of the best ways you know that is because he was never shy about taking it off. And there was on the first Odd Couple season 1, I think it is, they have extra features where bonus things. They have the Mike Douglas show with Tony Randall and Jack Klugman on there during the first season, and he's not wearing the toupee. I love Robin Williams and Good Will Hunting. There you go. Another great film. I never saw it, but I know it's considered a great film. Were you at the July 1994 Sons of the Desert convention in Tarrytown, New York? I was there. No, I have to say, Brad, I never went to that's a Laurel and Hardy convention. Never been there. Do they still have these conventions, the Sons of the Desert? I know they used to. But Robin Williams was a fine actor. I liked him in Awakenings and Good Will Hunting. As I say, I like him more as a dramatic actor than a comedian. I met one of the original bootleg guys. I bought stuff from his trunk. I bought stuff from his trunk. All right. Interesting. Thank you all so far for being here. I got a little more time left. We're going to be hitting an hour soon. I'm going to stay on at least for an hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour, 20 minutes, something like that. Maybe 90 minutes. It depends how it goes. Depends. Okay. Hello, Darren. Oop, what's going on, Darren? Revolver Records is still there. I think it is. I think I've been told it's still there. Yeah. What, Sons of the Desert still do conventions? Where do they do them? Do they do them in the New York area? Well, I wonder if I would go to one. Okay, I'm caught up right now with comments, but there's plenty more you can make. I thank everybody for watching. I thank everybody for... I'm not signing off yet. I thank everybody for commenting. Unbelievable that Ringo Starkey never had a pizza. Yeah, that's what he says. He did do the commercial for Pizza Hut where he says, now it's time to eat our pizza. Well, he doesn't eat pizza, so, hey, it's advertising. What are you going to do? It was a job for Ringo. But it's true. Ringo was talking about that on Jimmy Kimmel, about how he's never had a pizza, and he's allergic to so many foods. You never know what they're sticking in a pizza, he says. You never know what's in there. And he says, and, when he eats stuff like that he's allergic to, he gets illness right away. He gets ill. So that was interesting to hear him elaborate. Other than talking about being on Ed Sullivan for the first time, it's nice to get. I'd rather hear him talking about how he's allergic to pizza for something different, Okay, Eric says, if you sign Band on the Run, I'm wondering which album Danny should sign. Maybe the Mothers Were Only in It for the Money. Yeah, maybe. Do you ever think you're going to go back to Princeton Record Exchange? Well, I think, James, when I went there, I think it was 2016 when I went there. I can't believe that's going to be 9 years ago. I don't think I would really go back there again ever, unless there was some draw. Like, the reason I went there was they got over 1,000 Beatles albums, bootleg albums, and regular albums. They bought this tremendous collection. So I was able to go there, and in one shot, for those who don't know, in one shot, one day, I was able to go there and buy, I think it was 52 albums, 50-something albums I bought that day. And I made a video. It's one of my favorite videos. Check it out. Look it up on my channel, Princeton Record Exchange, collect the Beatle albums or something like that. Yeah, Ringo always had a sensitive digestive system. Maybe oregano was rough on him. Pizza's friggin' good. Yeah. Yeah, he guess he'll have Heinz. Yeah, give me a pizza with Heinz beans. Maybe he could put some Heinz beans on it for Ringo, and maybe he could put some kale on it. He likes kale. Revolver is the best name for a record store. Well, obviously, good name. I remember my father bought me the McCartney 2 album, and when I opened it on my birthday back in 1980, it had 2 of the 45s in that album. I'm talking about the live version. Yeah, the album originally had a 45. No, it might have been on 33. Was it 45 or was it on 33? But anyway, a small 7-inch record of the live version, because the live version became like a #1 hit in the United States. So they kind of put a single in there with it. And it was only one-sided. You could only play one side. The other side was blank. Are you going to watch the Grammys? Will Paul and Ringo be there? Or Giles Martin because of the production? I don't intend to watch the Grammys tonight, but I think I'll be sitting by the television with the remote and maybe channel surfing, maybe going back and forth, seeing what's going on. I won't probably not going to steadily watch it. I don't believe Paul and Ringo are going to be there. If Paul or Ringo were there, then I'd be more inclined to watch it more straight through to see if they'd perform or make a speech or something. If the Beatles win, Revolver is my favorite album of all time, almost tied with Exile on Main Street. Well, Revolver, if you're going to pick a favorite album of all time, Revolver is certainly a deserving candidate for that. Have ever had a John's Pizza in the Village? No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, I've had pizza in the Village, in the city, in my life. But what the names of the places were, I don't know. I mean, I haven't done that in 20 years. Now, what is this? Remember the video that you did with the, let's say, well-endowed ladies that love live albums? Why am I drawing a blank? That's something that I would remember. But anyway. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got some good albums. I was able to replace a lot of the bootleg and unusual albums that I used to have in my collection that I didn't have anymore in one day. And among them was like the entire Beatles at the Beeb, the Beatles at the BBC vinyl collection. I was able to get like every volume. I think there are 13 volumes of it. Or whatever it was, I got all of them. I would like to see it, but I expect Record of the Year is like the last category. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, it's Record of the Year or album, whatever it is. Record, it'll be Single of the Year. Song of the Year will be at the end. Yeah. If I were in charge of things, I would include singles with a lot of albums. The Beatles released a number of singles from the same sessions of the albums. Beatles for Sale and I Feel Fine. I got you. I like the way, as a U.S. guy who was born and raised in the U.S., I like what they do. I like having the hit singles on the records, on the LPs. Do you think that Danny is watching you right now? It's 50-50 chance, obviously. I think he might be. They also nominated at the Brit Awards for Song of the Year. They're also nominated. Okay, the last time nominated was 1977. I mean, with the Beatles, the White Album, Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper are close to splitting hairs to choose, but Revolver is my favorite. Yeah, there's so many great Beatles. They're all great, right? I mean, come on. It never dawned on me, Joe. Glad I helped you out. Okay. Meet the Beatles rather than with the Beatles. Well, Meet the Beatles has I Want to Hold Your Hand. I saw her standing there on it, and this boy. Mets look good for this upcoming season. Okay, Ralph, let me know if they're playing good enough ball that's worth watching. I have no problem with the hit singles being on albums. Imagine the White Album with Hey Jude and Revolution on it. True. But I got to say, in that case, for whatever reason, I like the fact that Hey Jude and Revolution are not on the White Album. I like that. I like them being on a single. Same thing with Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane. For some reason, I like it much better having a bonus single, I know that's the first thing they recorded, those two songs, and that was going to be part of the album, but they had to have a new single out in time for Christmas, whatever. So they put out Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane as a single, and I know a lot of people thought, it should have been on the album. But Sgt. Pepper was such a classic, influential, landmark, special piece of work, even without Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane on it, right? They didn't need it to be a success. It was a success anyway. Yeah, This Boy is not among my favorite Beatles songs. I like it, of course, but it's not among my favorites. They should include the singles on every deluxe edition of Beatles albums on stream platforms. They get lost elsewhere, like on Paul's archive. Speaking of Paul, I know a lot of people feel this way. I still would love him to do what he used to call cold cuts. I still would like to see Paul have a box set, a real nice dedicated box set with all his bonus tracks on it. I would love that. Even if they appear on archives, even if they appear on other bonus CDs or albums, whatever, already vinyl. I want a dedicated bonus tracks compilation. That's one of my most wanted things, Beatle-wise, from Paul or any of the other Beatles, you know. I want to see the Paul McCartney Cold Cuts project, or whatever you want to call it. Extra tracks. I want to see that become a thing. Piccolina the Cat. Hello. Happy Sunday to you. I'm glad that Only a Northern Song wasn't on Sgt. Pepper. I like the song. I find it particularly pleasing, Yellow Submarine movie, but it doesn't sound like it would fit on Pepper. I think it would fit on Pepper. We're so used to it. I mean, I agree with you. First of all, I like the song. I like Only a Northern Song. And I do think it works perfectly in Yellow Submarine in the movie. But I think it would fit on Pepper. If you really think about it, arguably, Only a Northern Song probably feels more psychedelic and Sgt. Peppery than the more Indian influenced Within You Without You. That's, you know, I like Within You Without You. I like the song Within You Without You also, but I'm saying, if anything, I think that fits less on Pepper. Just like they released Past Masters, I agree that Paul should release all his extra tracks on an album box set. Very good, very good. All right, we still got this tea here. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sweet it is. Boy, it's a little Jackie Gleason for you there, just in case people don't realize who I'm imitating in that thing. Sgt. Pepper should have had Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane on it. Just my opinion. It's not just your opinion. A lot of people think that. I always thought Yellow Submarine feels Sgt. Peppery. The horns, the band starts to play, etc. When I became a fan, I was surprised it's on Revolver. There you go. I liked your past video where you listed the 10 Beatles songs that you were tired of. You said that you were ready to get tomatoes thrown at you. Well, I was trying to do something different for a video, you know. 10 Beatles songs I'm sick of hearing or whatever. I mean, I say this all the time. You know, I love the Beatles, obviously, right? But I can't listen to them every day. And I don't listen to them every day. And when I do listen to them, I love it because it's been a while. I take a break. But when I say I take a break, I'm not talking about for years. I mean, maybe I play a Beatles album or song like every 6-7 months or something like that. But what I do is if I'm in a Beatles type of mood, I'm not that tired of the solo material. So I play the solo material a lot more these days. But yeah, like I had the Sirius XM channel and I had to cancel it because I was in my car, my old car. My new car doesn't have the capability for satellite, believe it or not. But I was listening to the Beatles channel, and every time I turned it on, there was Hey Jude, there was Yesterday, there was Come Together, there's Can't Buy Me Love. I'm like, enough. And I really believe, and I've said this before, even though the Beatles channel, Sirius XM, even though they do play solo cuts, a lot of times there I hear the same solo cuts. I put it on. If we're going to play Ringo, I hear Goodnight Vienna. I remember hearing Goodnight Vienna when it debuted over and over again. They play the same ones. Occasionally I'll hear something different. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying I really think the best formula, in my opinion, if I was running the Beatles channel, is I would not have songs that the Beatles listened to that influenced them. Now, I love all those guys. Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, Little Richard, Elvis Presley, Fats Domino. I love those guys. I got record CDs in my collection. But when I'm listening to a Beatles channel, I don't want to hear Buddy Holly. I just don't. Even, what I think they should do if I was programming is I would play 3 Beatles songs in a row, or even 4 Beatles songs in a row. And then I'd play a solo cut. Another 3 or 4 Beatles songs, and then a solo cut. Another 3 or 4 Beatles songs, and a solo cut. And when I play a solo cut, it would really go deep sometimes. Sometimes you'd hear Imagine, or you hear Band on the Run, or you hear It Don't Come Easy, or you hear My Sweet Lord. But other times you hear obscure tracks. Maybe you hear Tight As from John Lennon. Okay. Maybe you hear, I don't know, Monkberry Moon Delight from Paul. Maybe you'll hear That's the Way It Goes from George. For Ringo, maybe you'd hear, there's a lot of songs, but I can think of the popular ones. This song, is it called Love? It's from Liverpool 8 album. It's called like something Love, Tough Love. I don't think it's Tough Love, something like that. I know I like the song, but I can't remember the name of it now. But you know what I'm trying to say? Mix it up. I'm tired of hearing the same songs, man. I'm sorry. That's it. Now, I like the other things they do. I mean, Chris Carter does a great Beatles stuff. He plays a lot of obscure stuff. And I like the talk shows. I like, I used to listen to Fab Forum. I used to listen to, Way Beyond Compare. I mean, those shows, are okay. But I just wish musically that they mixed it up. All right. I have to go back because it took a while. Wouldn't it be nice to have a meatball hero for lunch? Yeah, it would be, but I'm not. What does John yell at the beginning? It's not to your mother. A lot of people think he's saying to your mother or something. There's a thing. I thought it was a woman's name, and I forget who it was. Somebody will tell us. To somebody. Yeah, well, if I'm going to listen to Beatles songs, it'll be stuff like, I'd rather hear I'll Get You. I'd rather hear, stuff, I don't know, Tell Me What You See. I'd rather hear stuff that's not the usual. The subject of bad album cover art came up the other week. I think that Past Masters had the worst cover design. Oh, definitely. Absolutely. What a stupid, unimaginative, dumb cover that those are, Past Masters. His ears are stuffed up. You know what you got to do? Do what Felix Unger does. You got to unstuff your ears. Do like Felix. That's how you unstuff your ears, according to Felix Unger, a.k.a. Tony Randall. That's what you do. Let's see. Robbie Williams tied with the Beatles on the most #1 albums in the UK. 15. For Americans, this seems crazy. Yeah, definitely crazy. More than Elvis or Michael Jackson. Very crazy. I always thought it was George who shouted at the start of It's All Too Much. I don't think it is, but who knows? Yeah, this kind of things. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't like this kind of mentality. I know you're right. You're probably right. Sirius XM is only intended for people to listen to 1 hour on their way to work. That's stupid. I'm sorry. I see what you mean about putting deeper cuts on a program. How about early 1970 or Miss Odell? I think I've heard early 1970 on the Beatles channel. In my humble opinion, the Dave Clark 5, because plus Any Way You Want It matched up with the Beatles track. I like the Dave Clark 5. I definitely like him. If I did a Beatles radio show, I'd play maybe 2 Beatles studio cuts, a live BBC song, solo song. Yeah, because I don't. It really cracks me up, because why is it okay? I mean, some people may think, well, fans don't want to hear a lot of the solo cuts. A lot of people think fans don't want to hear the deep Beatle cuts so much, But how do you rationalize that the Beatle fans want to hear a lot of Elvis and Buddy Holly and Chuck Berry or Peter Asher or any of these people? Why they rationalize that? I fell yesterday into a Yoko rabbit hole. It's great that she's still living. Yoko's birthday is going to be February 18th. She's going to be 92. Sad that I could never see her. She's so fit, rock live till like 2015. Then a health decline. Yep. Bless her. Yeah. Yeah. Ken Michaels, again, not just because I do the show Talk More Talk with him, but Ken Michaels has a really good show. Every Little Thing. It's well titled because he does play every little thing. And he loves the solo Beatles, which is why I was so honored when I was originally asked to join the Talk More Talk show, because Ken Michaels is on there and I always listen to him. And I was a fan of his. And I'm like, yes, this is great. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, Matchstick Man. I think that if they have a 30th anniversary of Anthology, they should add Bad to Me. Love that song, Bad to Me. I love that one for sure. You mentioned that because it's always somebody's birthday. The Beatles stations always play birthday. Yeah, some songs should be given a rest. Yesterday is a classic, but how often do we have to hear it? I'm not going to say that I never want to hear Yesterday again or Michelle or any of it. There's certain songs that are my most played out for me. It's an expression when you say, I never need to hear this song again. I never need to hear that song again. It's mostly an expression conveying that you're just a little, overdosed on it. But, yeah, yesterday's one. When I had a Sunday night 8 to 12 p.m. Beatles radio show in the Poconos, 84 to 86, I played lots of solo stuff along with Beatles. Well, that was a show. Sounds like that would have worked for me. It's the kind of show I like to hear. All righty. Michelle was written to get girls. I know there's a lot of women out there that said that they were named Michelle because of the song Michelle. You know, a lot of women like that fact, and a lot of them are kind of like disgusted by it. I've heard both. Let's see now. What do we got here? When I worked at a small radio station, the playlist was dictated by royalties and songs were automated by classification. Yeah, I'm sure. Example, recurrent, current, classic, etc. Yeah, it's a shame about that. 15 to 20 songs are the rotation, and that's why many of us fans are tired of such great tunes. Yeah, a lot of great songs, unfortunately, overstay their welcome. We could name so many of them. Hotel California, Bad Moon Rising, songs that I used to love when I was a kid. Maggie May, you could go on forever. I made a video about this too. I always want to hear all the songs again, but I purposely avoid some songs so that I don't get tired of them. Then if the song comes up, it's okay to hear it again. Give Ireland Back to the Irish is a McCartney Wing song. It's a Wing song. Give Ireland Back to the Irish. I love Michelle. It was a European hit, though I never saw Paul play yesterday. Do you think Paul will tour this year to promote his record? Well, first, let's see if he's got the record out this year. He's supposed to have a new record out this year, a new album. That's the first thing. And then, will he tour? I don't know. I think we would have heard something by now if he was. But who knows? Do you have to drive today or just go into the mall? I do not have to drive today. If you're talking about, I don't have to go. I don't have to be anywhere today. Let's put it that way. Next week, I'll be doing the show from the old classroom again. I'm sick of Start Me Up. Yeah, me too a little bit. I'm sick of Satisfaction. The Rolling Stones song I'm most sick of is I Can't Get No Satisfaction. And it's such a great classic song, great rocker. But I'm so tired of Satisfaction. Jesus, tired of that song. I'm all in favor of having theme programs, a George show, a Ringo show, a cover show, etc. Well, they do have the Dark Horse show, right, on the Beatles channel for George. What is the one Wings that you don't like and why? Are you talking about the song? I don't like The Note You Never Wrote. I can't stand that song. Boring as hell. But I have to really think about. I have to think about it. You know, I can't just going through all. Oh, album. What's the one album, Wings album, that you don't like and why? I like all the Wings albums as a whole, and that includes Wildlife. I think Wildlife, especially looking back on it now, is definitely something that's interesting because it's different for Paul. It's a little, it's much more primitive, much more just like, let's get it done. It's not so slick. And I really like it for being different like that. So there you go. I just don't like the song. I just find it boring. Do I wish he never wrote the note you never wrote? Yeah, a lot of people, the thing about Mull of Kintyre was a song when I first heard it as part of Wings' Greatest, the album. I didn't like Mull of Kintyre as like whatever I was, 16-year-old or whatever. What happened for me was I went to the Fest for Beatles fans. Back then it was called Beatle Fest. And they used to have in the Grand Ballroom, they'd have films shown of promo songs. And they showed, there were actually a few videos, different videos from Mull of Kintyre. But the one people know the best is when they're on wherever they're on. I don't know if it's I'm going to say the wrong word, in Scotland or the farm or whatever. And, the thing when Paul is sitting there playing the guitar on the fence and Denny Lane joins him and they're walking by the water and Linda comes out of the house. I got goosebumps. It was such a beautiful video. Sometimes a promo film or video can make a song for you, and sometimes it can ruin a song for you. But in this case, I really appreciated Mull of Kintyre by that special experience of seeing the film of the song at the Beatle Fest. It goes on a little long. Could have been trimmed a little, slightly trimmed, but I like it. Have I ever interviewed Mark Lapidus? For those who don't know, Mark Lapidus is the founder, organizer, the man who started Beatle Fest, now the Fest for Beatles fans. And I did interview him in, I guess, two of, I make videos of the Fest. And in at least two of them, I talked to him on camera. In two of them, I don't, you got to look at them. I don't remember which ones are which. I think one of them was the one I did in last February. And then I think there was another one. It might have been 2017. I'm trying my memory here. Sometimes it's really good. All right. So I'm going to stay on for a little longer. I'll stay on for another 7 minutes or so. We'll make it a 90-minute show today. I hope people can get their comments in because it's always a lot of fun. I love doing this. I'm going to try to do this every Sunday morning. I've been doing it every Sunday morning. If I do it here, I start at 9 a.m. Eastern. If I do it from the classroom, which will be next week, I start 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm also going to try to do some of these. Occasionally, I'll be doing them later in the day, late afternoon, or something like that, because I want other people to be able to check in with me and comment live who maybe aren't here early like this. Some people maybe are, it's too early for you. So, so that'll happen too. So if some of you are watching this, whether it's live now or whether you watch it on a playback, you say, hey, how come you do these things so early? Well, Most of the reason I started doing them early on Sunday was because I got to go to that, what I call the detention center classroom, and I want to have the show to help me make the time pass. But, some weeks when I'm not doing it, like today, I could have done this show instead of doing this show at 9 a.m. I could have done it at like 4 p.m. or something, or 5 p.m. or 3 p.m. So anyway, my point is I'm trying to fit everybody in there. So they used to play With a Little Luck too much, so I got tired of it. Now that I don't hear it regularly, I like it again. I love that song, definitely. Definitely love it. What do you think about punk rock bands? Do you like them? I don't really know enough. I generally don't. There's some Sex Pistols stuff, which is obviously that's a cheap answer, Sex Pistols. But I like some of the Sex Pistols stuff. Matthew Smith, hello. Brainwashed, largely forgotten and underappreciated. Don't you think? I think yes to both. I think it's forgotten and overlooked. It's overlooked. Even I overlook it. When I think of George's albums, I'm thinking, let me decide which George albums I like best and rank them. In my mind, I always forget about, for whatever reason, Brainwash, which is a good album and overlooked. I agree. The only thing I'd say about it is a little long. It's a little lengthy. Beatley Tone has a good interview with the author of a book about 73 being the last year that the Beatles were fab. I don't believe that. 74, they were good too. I mean, as far as all of them together, but yeah. Surprised John Blaney does not like Mind Games at all. The original release and the box sets. Oh, sorry to hear that. I disagree. I like the Psychedelic Furs. Their first couple of albums were punk. I think if it had come out when he died, like, say, Double Fantasy, it would have received more notice. Brainwashed. Yeah, I mean, what was it, a year after? Was it a year after he passed that Brainwash came out? Anyway. So what do you really think about the Liverpool band that's at Beatlefest every year? Well, I'll be honest with you. In the early days, in the 80s, like 1981, 1982, 83, 84, the very early 80s, I loved Liverpool. Now I'm like, that's really what it comes down to. I think I've overdosed on Liverpool. That's all I could say. Not that they're bad, I just overdosed on them. I loved them more in the early 80s. All right, folks, I'm going to say that's it for now. So again, thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for joining me here. I'm going to try to make Sunday mornings pretty regular where I do this. But as I say, be on the lookout. If you watch my channel, you'll see thumbnails, you'll see ads where I will be telling you, I should say, advertising what time I'll be doing these live streams, because I'm going to do some of them later in the day so that people who are not always here at this hour can be here later. All right. Thank you, everybody. Cheers to all. Talk soon.